Hello, Abraham. Very excited to be here. I was introduced to you by my parents probably about 10 years ago. I have several questions. The first one that's forefront in my mind is the vibration that food has with our bodies.
Has the vibration that you expect it to have for the most part. There are extremes, don't drink bleach. But for the most part, what you expect from food is what you get.
And is there also, I've been told that fruits have higher vibration, or food that is closer to the earth, there's higher vibration with that. Is that
the
true?
less processed it is, the less resistance it holds. That is true.
Okay, that makes sense on that.
But there's another factor that we want to give to you, and that is the more in alignment you are, the more you are able to receive the benefit from wherever you are. It's exactly the same thing that we were just talking about, that when you get tuned in, tapped in, turned on, so that you have all of these resources that are flowing through you. Now, if you have a step one moment, if you are in that mode of really knowing who you are, then the contrast doesn't bother you vibrationally. And exactly the same thing is true of everything that comes into your experience. In alignment, things that you might see as troubling aren't troubling. That makes perfect sense to you, doesn't it? And on the heels of what we just said, it fits just right, doesn't it? Of course, you want to line up with whatever it is that you are doing. Let's say that you're in a situation where you believe that this kind of food is really good for you and that this particular food is very bad for you. But let's say, for whatever reason, the food that you believe is bad is the only option that you have. And let's say it's for a little while. It's the only option you have, and you've previously thought it to be not beneficial food. You've got to find some way of appreciating that food. And in your appreciating it, it will no longer not be unbeneficial. But you all are in a situation where you can pretty much bring to yourself whatever you believe to be the best. And that certainly is what we would encourage. When you get tuned in to this high frequency, to this pure positive energy, you'll be inspired through your path of least resistance. But that's what we were talking about. What if the food that you really, really want is not available to you right here and now? Well, you'll be inspired to the food through the path of least resistance that will benefit you most. So it really is a matter of following your bliss, you see. And there is a whole lot of value in a whole lot of food that you have written off. And there is more damage that is done among the population of this planet today by worrying about everything that you eat than if you knew nothing about food and were eating following your bliss. There are so many people eating in a feeling of controversy, or eating in a feeling of guilt, or eating in a feeling of wrongdoing, that they are actually using the food that they are eating as a reason to not be in the vortex, and then whatever they eat is sort of struggling through their body, as their body does not have its normal resourceful resources in order to process it, you see.
It's incredible, because I have several people that are in my life that there's a doctor, I guess, down in Florida, and he has been able to heal people by them basically turning to all fruit diets. And the changes that they've made in their life has been incredible just to watch.
Well, there are a number of factors, and we are not disagreeing with that at all. In fact, everything that you just said aligns with what we just said to you. So someone who is in search or need of healing, so they've got strong desire, they have a lot of energy that they're summoning, and then they find someone who is believing in his process and is able to convey his belief to them, so they come into alignment and therefore receive the recovery. Someone very influential could do the same thing with jelly beans.
That's incredible. I think I've wrapped my head around the food now, and I have another personal question. I'm a real estate agent. I have loved real estate since I was a child. Would bribe my sister to play Monopoly with me with these pieces, and got away from it for a little while. And in 2008, I decided I should do something safe and go back and become a nurse. And I did that, and I still currently work in the neonatal intensive care unit. And I'm at a place now where my real estate business is incredible, and I'm so thankful for the people that I've attracted in the last 6 months specifically. And now I feel that it's time for me to step away from nursing, where I've met some incredible people. I've seen some miracles happen. I mean, but it's too much emotionally for me to do both. How do I do that?
Is it too much emotionally for you to do both? Is nursing something that's ringing your bells?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I love the people that are in my life with that, as far as fantastic nurses, and holding a baby that's 2 to 3 pounds is an amazing feeling, and then seeing them go home with their parents that people just never thought it would happen has been incredible, and it allowed me to go back into real estate with a whole different perspective, which probably sounds crazy, but
well, it may be that wonderful
amazing.
experience has served its purpose.
So how do I ease out of that into what really is me?
By making a decision to do it. Because nothing is more uncomfortable than splitting your energy about something. And once you decide, everything will line up around that decision. And we can feel that you're at the point that that decision can be made easily. And by that we mean the momentum is enough that you will not have a financial struggle in the process. You see what happens, and you have expressed it. I love this about this, and I love this about this. And really we want to say to you that you really don't have to choose between things. In other words, you are broad enough and expansive enough. And if there was true love in both aspects, we would say continue to do both. It's the momentum. When you follow your bliss, where do you want to go? When you follow your commitment or your service, where do you want to go? And this is the thing that this room full of teachers and uplifters and healers is sort of grappling with all the time, because you put it in your mind often that your purpose in life is to be the path of least resistance for others. And you certainly have been that for a while. But you have to ask yourself, what truly is following your bliss? Because there are so many people who don't follow their bliss. Instead, they follow commitment and service, and then they separate themselves from who they truly are. And then in a moment of less resistance, an impulse comes to you, the idea comes, and you follow that, and you begin returning to your bliss.
That's been incredible, because really in the last 6 months, once I committed to meditating, I feel like my world changed, really.
We want to say to all of you that in your alignment, you will be of the greatest service. And in your determination to pay the price of service, you are not. You get what we mean?
Those are really, really powerful words.
Yeah.
And my last question is for my husband. He wants to know how you raise the Kundalini.
For the benefit of everyone, describe it briefly.
Okay, I had him describe it to me too, so I could explain it to you. And it's basically a way of taking the energy from the base of your core and bringing it up throughout your body. A lot of people relate it to being able to open the third eye with that. He has practiced this for years and wants to know what the most direct source is to do that, to have his energy come up and his third eye open and just be receptive.
We're going to give it a little bit different definition.
Okay.
And is he familiar at all with what we teach?
He's here now, yes.
Even better. So we've been talking, it's about the only thing that we talk about your physical, in this human body, relationship with the source within you. But in doing so, sometimes it makes it sound like source is outside of you, when that is never the case. Source is always presenting to you, flowing to you, and reaching you on an atomic level, on a cellular level, because it's all energy. But as you acknowledge that the source within you is this very high, flying, resistant-free vibration, and you strive to align with that, what happens is it opens all your passageways. By that we mean, we used to call it opening your valve or opening your passageway. It's the way Esther felt it in the beginning too, as she began to allow more and more, as she relaxed more and more, the energy of Abraham to flow through her. And so sometimes it's helpful, and a lot of people do it, to identify specific points in their body where the energy is defined. And there isn't anything wrong with that. We would take a more general approach and just acknowledge that the energy is coming to every cell, and that the better you feel, the more you are allowing that to take place. And so, just for fun, just sort of relax and think about your connection to source energy, and think about the receptive mode. In other words, the source energy is flowing to everything and everyone around. And to differing degrees, people are in the receptive mode. So if you are in a sort of worrisome mode, the energy is still flowing, but in that worrisome vibration, in that vibration that is depicted by your worry, you would translate the energy in a more awkward or bulky form. Sometimes Esther will lie in her bed if she has something in her physical body that is distressing her a little discomfort in a knee, or maybe a cramp in her foot, or maybe some tiredness in her back, or a little stiffness in her neck because of falling asleep on the airplane in an odd way without her special pillow. And so she can just lie in her bed and she will say, Abraham, can you work on that? And she can feel specific energy being applied specifically to that. So much so that her facial muscles are affected by it. She can actually feel her scalp moving. Anyone getting anything in your scalp? Almost like fingers under your hairline, massaging your scalp from the base up, forward, over the top of your head. Anybody get any of that? So when you've defined something like this base of this chakra where the Kundalini energy is, and you are opening yourself in the receptive mode and asking for it, it's logical that that is where you would feel it, you see. You get to, in every true sense, define how you receive the energy. And that's why there are so many different concepts of it. That's why there are so many different people writing so many different books about it. As we say, we take a more general approach. We say just chill and allow the energy to flow through you. And in your relaxed state, we're going to goose it up just a little bit here. If you are accustomed to seeing energy, you might see more light around Esther than you were seeing a moment ago. We'll spike it up just a little bit. Anybody getting a visual on any of that? And some of you are receptive to energy, are feeling it sort of moving through your body in a stronger way. Anybody? Just breathe into it and appreciate it and acknowledge that it is your receptive mode. And if you're not receiving it, it doesn't mean anything other than you are evil. If you're not receiving it, it doesn't mean anything other than that your expectation is new about it, you see. There is no question that your husband, and you as well, many of you, are connected to this energy stream. Just allow it to be received by you. And that's the emphasis that we really want to put. It's the receptive mode, receptive mode, receptive mode that we're always talking about, because you've already summoned the energy and it's already being offered. And through the path of least resistance, it will flow, you see. Don't make it complicated. Enough?